Good evening. How's everybody? Good. Awesome. Well, I'm Kevin Cooke, and I'm obviously running to be your next congressman out of the 14th. For those of y'all who don't know me, and there are a lot of new faces, I'm on the opposite end of the district, down in Harrelson. I have a beautiful wife, Crystal, of 13 years. We have two awesome daughters, Ella and Sadie. We go to Rooteville Road Baptist Church. I grew up a church kid. My dad was a pastor, so I was drugged to every church, homecoming. I mean, you name it, I was out there. And one thing I prayed for as a kid was, Lord, please don't call me to preach. Please don't. Well, he didn't, but he did call me into music ministry and sang with the quartet on the road for a couple of years prior to my wife and I getting married. And for those of y'all who've seen some Southern gospel music and groups, you know that as soon as you get married, you're probably going to want to be home, not gone 185, 200 dates a year. So that was a blessing in my life to get to do that and minister and be all around this area too, as a matter of fact. But currently I serve as the Associate Athletic Director at Shorter University in Rome. What and how I got involved in this process is for the past 9 years, I've served in the General Assembly. I've represented District 18, and I would not be truthful with y'all if I said it's always been easy. As a matter of fact, I learned very quickly that just because you're a Republican and just because you're in a majority doesn't mean that your policies in Atlanta line up with what we say and believe here.
That's right.
I recognized really quickly that there was a number of colleagues that I was dealing with and watching that they would say here that they are for conservative values, for less government, less taxes, more personal responsibility, that they were pro-Second Amendment, pro-life. But what I saw in essence was the opposite of that. Now, there's a lot of great representation at our state capitol, but there's very few like the Steves of the world, and that gets me into what me and a small group of my friends did after seeing that. Because once we got there, I'd never had any political experience at all. I'd never run for squat. Didn't even run for school president or secretary. Or I wasn't in any really clubs much. I played ball, talked way too much in class, and didn't really care much about school growing up. So I had no experience whatsoever when I first ran. Well, what I saw and what we did with this small group is we started a movement, the Appeal to Heaven movement, down around the State House. And what that was a movement that was based off of absolute right of conscience and principle. We were going to stick to our conservative values no matter what the political cost was. And as y'all might imagine, that did not make us popular at all. I still wouldn't be voted most likely to succeed down at the state capitol. And that's with dear friends like Governor Kemp and Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan. Sidebar here, also wore a Appeal to Heaven pin on the House floor. But that said, in this election process, like Dr. Cowan had mentioned, most of us are going to say that we're pro-life, that we're pro-gun, that we believe in what President Trump's doing in his agenda. We're going to say we want to build a border wall because of dude. Only way to fix that whole process is to cut it off at the spigot. We can't talk about fixing anything until we cut it off, right? But we're going to say all that. The difference is where I find that my candidacy is unique in this process, and that's what we do, right? We point out the differences. I've served now going into, this is my 10th session. My hair was this color when I was elected. I just turned 40, and I joked this weekend at my party. I said my hair, or my age, has finally caught up with my hair. And it's very true. What those are, those watching freedom and liberty, fighting for freedom and liberty. I used to blame it on my wife. It never worked out well. I always got in trouble for it. But that's what has happened, and that's what's occurring even at our state capitol. To defend liberty and stand for that is so vastly important, all the way down to the local level. Those of y'all who are the closest to the people matters the most. Well, we're all going to say these things, and I believe everybody believes what they're saying. But what I provide is an option of somebody who can tell you what I believe, and then you can go verify every single thing that I'm telling you. So what we see in Washington, D.C. right now, with a lot of people that get elected, you're like, they're going to be an all-star. They're going to preserve, protect, and defend our republic. And then after a while, you see how they vote. You're like, what's going on? That's not what they said when they came to our meeting. I provide an option where you can go check what I'm telling you to make sure that it's accurate. There's a 10-year record. I stand behind every single vote that I took. And I'll say this as well, to kind of close and not keep us here too long, but as we're looking forward into this election cycle, it's not enough at this point for us just to send a conservative to Washington. We need a proven, principled conservative so we all know what we're getting. My pastor says it this way, and I love it because it applies to all aspects of life, particularly spiritual life. But if you always do what you always done, you always get what you always got. That's a good old Haralson County way of saying that. But I have been honored to serve thus far in my time. I don't know if many of y'all know that, but a state legislator, Steve makes $17,342 for what he does. That is a service. That's a service to his area. That's a service to his community. We're all doing it because we love this country. I'm a Georgia boy. I love Georgia and want to see us continue to thrive. And I would appreciate, as we move through this process, if you have any questions, concerns, anything like that, chat with me, talk with me. I would very, very much appreciate your vote, your consideration for your vote. And most importantly, as we move forward through this entire process, pray for each and every person, one that's in leadership, but two that's running. And thank you to the candidates who announced earlier, because when you're in the seat and you're doing it, you see how difficult it is for your individual life, your family, but what a service it is, but what an honor, a humbling honor it is to get to represent the people that you love and care about, whether it's locally, state capitol, or Congress. I would appreciate your vote. Thank you very much.